Hey guys, and welcome to the Moms and Murder podcast, a true crime podcast featuring myself, Mandy, and my bestie, Melissa, over here. I was not with you guys last week, but I am extremely excited to be back today to record our 10th episode, which I just cannot believe that we're already 10 episodes into this. It's just been so fun, and it's flown by, and episode 10.
We've had 10 different days that we've been able to get together and record without children, and that's really the miracle in the whole thing.
Yeah, honestly, I think the best part of the podcast is having planned, scheduled, weekly, just a little bit of time just to ourselves. So, even though I have to spend it with Melissa.
Yeah, you got to take what you can get, to be honest.
Yeah, honestly, it's true.
Yeah. So we just are recovering from Hurricane Irma. And Mandy, you made it out basically unscathed from Irma.
I did. I'm scared to even say that we didn't not lose power. We didn't have to throw away any food. And
Mandy's the worst.
Yeah. Nobody had to fist fight each other at my house because they were so angry about everything. But that hasn't been the case for you, has it?
No. So we're on day 7. I look like a mangy rat, and words aren't really my thing. But we've been staying at my in-laws, which for anybody else would be terrible, but my in-laws are wonderful people. And I'm not saying that because they're standing here with a gun to my head, but they're really, really great. But anytime you're out of your element for a week, your kids go bonkers. And that's where we're at in this part of our life. So we should have power by Wednesday, which is only 10 days, in which I'm getting real stabby. So anyway, thank you guys. Thanks, Megan, for helping us last week, and I'm glad to have Mandy back.
Yay!
And we'll have Megan probably at some point for an episode that we're thinking about doing on Guatemala, because she lived in Guatemala for a while, as we talked about. That's a really kind of a neat episode. So we are going to get right into it. We are about to hit 30,000 downloads. By the time you hear this, we will be at 30,000 downloads, which is crazy. Again, our family cannot be doing all of these downloads because we can see where they're from, and they're all over the world, and that's just so neat to us. And we are lamos and don't know what you guys are doing with your free time, but thanks for spending it with us. And also, we oddly are on the iTunes charts for society and culture. Don't know how that happened.
I don't understand what's happening here. I really don't.
Basically, iTunes is falling apart, and we somehow got it in there. So somebody sent that to us, which was really, really nice. But at the end of this episode, we kind of on our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, posted last night, because we're last minute people, that we were going to have people call in on our voicemail or send us an email, kind of just telling us their favorite show and who they are and all their personal information, so we can hack into their lives and steal their identities, because they've got to be better than ours. So you should hear those at the end if anybody ended up calling. I don't know.
If anyone did it. I don't know if we could convince people to actually do that.
Or radio silence. One of those two things are going to happen. So we've got the 10th episode, and then also we got our new stickers in for all of our Patreon
They're
people.
so awesome. I'm so excited about them. I actually stole a few of them from Melissa, who had them sent to her. But I love them so much.
They're super cute.
I'm not even a sticker person, but I'm going to have to think of places to stick these.
Yeah. Basically, I see you using them as like Band-Aids, because my kids use all of my Band-Aids. So that'll work. So if you're interested in one of our adorable stickers or what else we have to offer on Patreon, check us out. Patreon.com/momsandmurder, I believe. And feel free to support us if you'd like us. 2 random women on the interwebs. That's not it. That's not true.
Random women.
Well, and on the internet. I don't want people to think we're just people on the internet. That's creepy and has all kinds of connotations. So we're just voices on a podcast. I don't know. And then also we have a couple promos at the end of the show. 2 shows that I really love. One is a newer show with Lainey Hobbs, and she's awesome and has a show, True Crime Fan Club, and this is her other brainchild. And then also a few friends of ours from Corpus Delicti, probably how you pronounce it.
Delicti, I don't try to pronounce anything.
I pronounce it how it's spelled, and that's probably wrong. Last thing, and then we'll get right into the show. Email us if you've done any reviews between in the past, or for the next week. So this releases on Tuesday. So you're listening on Tuesday, which is the 19th. So between the 19th and the 26th, midnight-ish, Eastern Standard Time.
Don't wait till the last minute. Just
Please
do it.
don't, because I can't do this kind of math. I won't know. You can email to momsandmurder@gmail.com. A screenshot of your review. If it's an old one, that's fine. If it's on iTunes, wonderful. If it's on Facebook, that's great too. And then we'll put you in a drawing to win a sticker, because really at this point, all we have to offer are stickers.
And we're very proud of the stickers.
We love the stickers. So anyway, if you're interested in that, please do that. We would love to hear from you. And we are going to get right into the show after 5 minutes. Mandy is going to give us a rundown on tonight's 10th special, and it's during the day episode.
Yes. Go ahead. All right, everybody. So the case we're going to be talking about today is one that I really like, and just
I feel
because
like you say that.
I do. Well, I like them all, but I especially like ones that include like a dumb criminal who does a dumb thing to get caught, because those are always amusing to me. So today we're going to be talking about the murder of Kelley Clayton. And Kelley was a 35-year-old wife and mother at the time of her mysterious death. She lived in a home tucked in the woods in the town of Clayton, New York. I'm assuming it's Clayton, Caton. Once again,
I'm not even
we're
going to
terrible
try.
with...
Words.
I don't see how else it could be pronounced. But
yeah.
So she lived in the town of Clayton with her husband, Tom, and their children, who were age 7 and 3 at the time. There was a little girl named Charlie and a son named Cullen. Kelley's best friend described her as being sarcastic, witty, fun, and her sister described her as being kind of a free spirit, wasn't afraid of adventure. She was just full of life and, had no problem taking the bull by the horn, so to speak, and kind of just going where the wind blew her.
So that part's not me, but I like the sarcastic, witty part.
Right.
She could have been one of us.
She could. But at one point, Kelley actually left her small town home in upstate New York and went to move to Vegas and became a cocktail waitress. And, just you can picture the big headdresses and all the crazy stuff that they wear in Vegas and fun. I've never been to Vegas.
No.
But I have been to upstate New York. My family actually is from there, my mom's side of the family. And my sister actually just moved back up there. So I can just imagine what a different environment going to Vegas would be from upstate New York. It's definitely no Vegas.
Yeah.
So, nothing wrong with it, but very different type of atmosphere. So on September 29th, 2015 at 12:39 a.m., police responded to a 911 call made by Thomas Clayton, who, of course, I said was Kelley's husband. And in this call, he was reporting that he had returned home from a poker game with friends to find his wife, Kelley, dead on the kitchen floor. The scene was pretty gruesome from what the detectives described. They also had body cams and everything, but... of course, you don't get to see, like, the crazy footage.
Yeah.
Of course, they don't show that, which I wouldn't want to see it anyway.
Say, what are you saying? No.
I am a little bit morbid, and I do like dark things, but I don't really want to see all that.
Yeah,
no. So that's okay. So I'll take their word for it. But they said the scene was, it was pretty nasty. There had obviously been a struggle. Kelley the attack had apparently started upstairs in her bedroom while she was sleeping, and it appeared through the evidence that was throughout the house that she was chased down the stairs, into the first floor of the home, and eventually, basically, she was bludgeoned to death. She was beat with, at this point, they didn't know what. It just looked like she had been badly beaten, and that she had really put up a good fight. So... it's just so sad to me. The saddest part about all this is that the daughter had apparently seen the entire attack. Yeah. So my heart just goes out to that poor child because, like I said, she was 7. So, my oldest child just turned 8. So basically the same age. And, I remember things from when I was that age.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine that there would be any way that this poor baby would not have some kind of, lasting long-term effects from... seeing something like that.
Well, and she said that her mom was yelling at her, "Get your brother and go to your room," like as she's being attacked, which gives me chills that the mom is, of course, that's your natural instinct is to take care of your children, but it just hurts even a little bit more to know she was completely out of control. Like she knew
there's nothing she could, right. Yeah, very sad. But so little Charlie, like I said, had saw the entire attack take place, and she actually told the police on the scene that a robber, is what she described, a robber had come into the home and attacked her mommy. Yeah. And they, of course, asked her to describe this person that she thought she saw. And of course she said they had on, dark clothes, a mask was one thing that she said. But one of the strange things was that she just, when the officer would ask her specific questions like, well, how tall was this person?
Was he taller than me?
Was he taller than me, shorter than me, whatever? And this little girl kept saying, about the same height as daddy.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the answer that she gave a lot of the time.
About the eyes.
About the eyes even.
Remember,
right.
It was like, it was a man. How do you know it was a man? Because of his eyes. What were his eyes? Oh, the eyes were like daddy's. Ooh.
That's a little, yeah, like, okay.
And the officers mentioned, like, it was kind of her kind of putting together, like, kind of watching her put together, oh, wow, this, could be my dad. Right.
And then, of course, as the detective, I'm sure had to be thinking, okay, it was definitely
dad.
Yeah,
for sure.
So we'll go on a little bit to talk about a little bit more about Thomas Clayton and just kind of find out who he was and what, kind of person that he was. And we'll go into what we think, about him after that. So Tom Clayton was an athlete. He played hockey for the Elmira Jackals in early 2000s. So
I'm familiar.
I'm not either. I don't know a lot about hockey. I'm assuming this is like a minor level.
League?
Is it? Do they call it that? It's league. Yeah, it's league, right?
Even if it's not baseball, it's league.
Well, because it's the NHL, is the right?
Yeah,
what is it? Okay, I don't know. I don't know anything about any sports really.
Oh gosh,
especially not hockey.
Yeah,
that's just not really. We don't do a lot of hockey stuff down here.
We're in Florida.
In Florida, yeah, we don't have that. But anyway, so he was at some level he played hockey, and like I said, early 2000s. It was during this time as a hockey player that he met Kelley.
Right.
And apparently Kelley and her sister and mom were actually attending a hockey game, probably just as a fun outing.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's not a lot to do in upstate New York, so this is probably something they just did for funsies.
Yeah.
But of course, Kelley and Tom, they locked eyes and, just the typical the rest was history kind of thing. And it was instant attraction. They were, just apparently head over heels crazy about each other.
How does that happen? He's in the middle of a game. Like where?
I'm literally imagining him like playing a game and seeing it like play out. Like they just locked eyes and then
I'm more gruesome.
He just left the ice and went over and passionately kissed her or something.
Mandy's reenacting and this is getting creepy. I more imagine that he takes like a hockey puck to the mouth and a tooth flies out and she like hands him his tooth and says, "Sir, this is yours."
You're so weird. I'm imagining the passionate kissing in front of the whole stadium and everything. No?
I'm going for tooth.
Yeah. So they were married 2 years later. And then another few years down the road, of course, they had their children. Right. And, their life was incredible from what friends and family described. Kelley's best friend described Tom as being a very generous person. She said he showered Kelley with things and, he was just very kind and giving, and not just with Kelley, but he would also offer up to help really anybody in need. And, any friends who had anything that they needed, he would do what he could, including things like having fundraisers for families that, needed it. So he seems like just the perfect nice guy, athlete, good looking, and he's nice. So
and maybe has all of his teeth. We don't know.
And possibly still has all of his teeth. So Kelley apparently would gush about her husband to neighbors and friends, and even as much as 10 years into their relationship would just say things like, she really hit the jackpot with him and she was so lucky. And
I have thoughts on this.
What?
Sometimes I think when people are, this is going to sound terrible, but sometimes when I think people are so overly like, this is so wonderful and it's so great, sometimes I think people are either trying to convince themselves or trying to convince other people.
So basically Melissa's saying there's no possible way.
No one's this happy. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm very happy, but I'm not the person that you'll ever see on Facebook writing like, oh, my husband did these things for me. Like, I know what he did. He knows what he did. I'm thankful.
He knows what he did.
Yeah, normally it's that tone that I'm taking. But no, when my husband does something nice, which he often does, I just did it right there. But no, but I don't know. The public declaration, sometimes it feels like you're protesting a little too much.
Well, yeah, and especially 10 years into your relationship, like, we get it. You obviously like each other because you're still together. So we don't care.
Stop shoving your happiness down my throat.
No, my husband's great too. I just thought I should throw that out there.
And both our husbands listen to this, so continue.
So after the children were born, Tom began to, he left his career, of course, as a hockey player.
Yeah, wanted to keep that gorgeous face.
Right, so he stopped doing that. And of course, shifted more towards a family type of line of work so that he could just become more of a family man.
Sure.
So as part of that, he began to establish a franchise for a company called Paul Davis Emergency Services. And what they did was they specialized in property restoration, but I read that they also took care of things like mold remediation and stuff like that. So
fun work.
Yeah, real fun. So they bought a home in the woods, like I said, in Clayton, New York in 2012. And that home also served kind of as a home base for Tom's new company. Right. And he would frequently have labor workers and everything coming in and out of there. Yeah. So I'm not sure at this point if Tom was actually doing the labor or if he was just managing the company and
the boss man.
Right. Yeah. Telling other people what to do.
Sure.
Which, I mean, I would be fine with that. Like, that would be right up my alley. Yeah. I don't want to do the work.
Yeah, no.
I can tell you the work that needs to be done.
I can tell you, yeah. But then ultimately, I'm just going to do it myself because I know how to do it better.
Exactly. So among the laborers that would go to the home frequently was a man named Michael Beard. And it was also one of Tom's childhood friends, Brian Lang. And they all kind of hung together and worked together. And like I said, they would meet at the house. I don't know why you would need to meet at the residence.
Yeah, what is
I guess they didn't have an office.
Yeah, but like, what are you getting from there?
I mean, maybe
Paychecks?
They stored all their tools and stuff, and they had, I mean, I really don't know. Like I said, I have no idea what they did.
There is some good detail brought to you by Moms and Murder. We have no idea what they did.
I know. So I guess the childhood friend, Brian Lang, planned to open a home remediation franchise as well. And Tom saw an opportunity for them to kind of join forces and combine with their powers combined.
Yeah,
they will make an amazing company. So Lang opened a Surf Pro franchise, which I've seen.
Heard of Surf Pro.
I have too. I believe we have them down here, and I've seen the trucks. That company really rings a bell to me. They have like a green truck with the orange Surf Pro.
Can't tell you all that.
No?
I just noticed that the name, because it doesn't have an E in it, and Surf,
and that drives you crazy.
It annoys me. Yeah.
So Tom came on as a project manager when they started the Surf Pro thing, and he brought, of course, much of his equipment and that he had purchased for the Paul Davis company. Right. And he also brought some of the laborers, including Michael Beard, and I'm guessing there was a couple of others. Oh, Luke Tetrault was another one that came on. So they obviously were good enough laborers that Tom thought he would keep them around when he moved companies. So Tom's business ventures were prospering, and he was, of course, making a lot of money. Like I said, they maintained this beautiful home that they had, and everything seemed to really be going well for them. But apparently Tom had a few secrets that he was harboring. Secrets. I know. There's always something.
Yeah.
But those who knew him stated that apparently he was really obsessed with money. He liked making it. He liked spending it. He liked gambling with it. I mean, hey, this sounds completely normal. We're all obsessed with money.
But not to this degree. This is like, what was his name? Anthony Curcio, like where like that's all that matters. Money's your ultimate goal.
Right.
Which I would be screwed if that was it.
I mean, I know. Thankfully, I'm not that way because, like you said,
I would be so disappointed.
I would have to turn to some like really questionable means of getting money.
Yeah, exactly.
I've just learned to live.
I'm good.
I've learned to live in poverty.
Yeah.
We're good. So he apparently also had like an insatiable obsession with women. So he was not this stand-up guy that you would think, like with this beautiful family. And by the way, if you guys go and take a look at this family, they're really good-looking people, okay? Ugh. Kelley was beautiful. And so I always, when I hear of men who like have this gorgeous wife who like is this great mom and like, like what is wrong with you for wanting to go out there and look for something else? Like what that, what I mean?
Attention and all of those, like, I don't know, like he was like king in the hockey world or whatever.
Right. I'm sure he was used to that type of lifestyle.
So he's probably used to all the attention and he's looking for it.
It's been a while since I've had a baby of my own, and some days I miss it so much. The baby cuddles and baby smiles, but when it comes to diaper rashes, not so much. I remember the first time my oldest had a diaper rash, I was really devastated. Here's this tiny thing totally dependent on me, and now she's fussy and obviously uncomfortable, and I'm supposed to have the answers. Well, with time and treatment, it went away, but what I really wanted was to avoid it altogether. And now, baby butts rejoice. New Huggies Skin Essentials are here, a brand new dermatologist-approved line of diapers, wipes, and pull-ups training pants, all designed with baby's sensitive skin in mind.
The wipes are thick and have zero harsh ingredients for a great, gentle clean. Pull-Up Skin Essentials has got your big kid covered too, with a training pant that's ultra soft and breathable to help protect sensitive skin throughout potty training. Whether you're a first-time parent or a seasoned pro, make it easy on yourself and your baby with Huggies. Learn more at Huggies.com. Once again, head to Huggies.com to learn more.
Hey guys, as you know, I'm someone who loves knowing a little about everything. I love the news, I love entertainment, I love it all. But sometimes I don't have enough time to get all the information, all the little details and the minutia of everyday news because my goodness, it's constantly going. But thanks to the Newsworthy podcast, I can get all I need in little bite-sized pieces. So if the stress of the news is getting you down, but you still want to know what's going on in things like the election, check out the Newsworthy. And in these 10-minute episodes, they're just on the go listening. I can listen to it quickly on a walk, on my way bringing my kids to or from school or one of their activities. When I'm in line at the grocery store, there's never a wrong time to listen to the Newsworthy. But if you feel bogged down by the news and kind of the negativity of it, but you still want to be informed on what's going on, the Newsworthy is the place to do it. Erica at the Newsworthy is an independent journalist, and her team does really all the hard work and research for you. I love that the episodes are so well-rounded, and there will be fun stuff like tech or big stories, but the way Erica gives this, efficient and neutral overview of the news, and in just 10 minutes each weekday, it's perfect. Just search The Newsworthy in your podcast app or go to thenewsworthy.com to start listening. Again, search for the podcast The Newsworthy, 2 words, The Newsworthy, to make staying informed easier and more enjoyable every weekday.
So one thing I remember hearing about was, tell me if you remember this, one of his niece, was it Kelley's niece?
It was Kelley's niece.
She tried to say, I don't buy this at all. She could be right, but this is way out there to me, that he told her that he was having affairs with multiple women. Why would you just hey, want some coffee? Also, I'm banging a bunch of people.
And she's like a teenager, so why is this is not an appropriate conversation to be having with a teenage girl in the first place? But he did. I saw that in the Dateline that we watched. Yeah. That she had said that he would confide in her and tell her things, which, like you said, is just very weird because she's a young girl and really he has no business sharing any of this information with her.
The other side of that is that he could be like, well, she's not going to say anything. This is really weird information. I don't know.
That's
it's
true.
Just sick.
Although it did, I had read basically that he was so obsessed with women, he didn't care if they were married, single, underage, apparently. So it makes you wonder if he was trying to be like a slime ball and get close to Kelley's niece. I don't know. That makes me so skeevy to even talk about that. But anyway.
Sorry, got off track. That just threw me off.
Yes, but several women did allege affairs with Tom, and they said that he would constantly discuss his marriage in a negative light and have very harsh things to say about Kelley, like that she was lazy, ungrateful. He would call her the B word, and just sounds like a really wonderful husband, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I know wives can be hard to live with, especially the ones like us who are staying home all the time and just driving our husbands crazy.
Oh my gosh. How many times can we text, what time will you be home? Please just tell me. I can't take it anymore.
I know. I start losing it. My husband gets off work at 5 and the traffic that he has to fight to get home, it makes it, sometimes he doesn't get home until 6. And honestly, at 6:01, I'm calling. I'm like, where are you? You're running late. It should
I hope you're dead because there's no reason this should be taking so long.
Because if you take much longer, you will be when you get here. So I guess Tom had put on a show and kind of hid these feelings from his wife. And they even found as frequently as just days before her murder, he was exchanging loving, normal husband text messages with her. But at the same time was also exchanging, sexually charged messages to someone else.
Yeah.
So he just was a real stand-up guy.
Yeah, that's our go-to stand-up guy. So on the night of the murder, it was a typical night at the Claytons' house. Around 7:30 that night, Tom left to go play poker at the home of their longtime friends, Greg and Linda Miller. And they were a little bit older than the Claytons, right?
They were.
Nothing wrong with that. You can have older friends, whatever. But I just thought, like...
It is kind of noteworthy. They are not the same, like, they're not like another young couple. They are a more mature, not old, but just more.
The older I get, the harder it is for me to
say anybody is old. I know. I'm like, well, they're not that old.
And also, I can't tell how old anybody is. It's a whole thing with me now. So this is something Tom did a lot. So he wasn't, this wasn't like a weird alibi situation. It was like typical for him to go out and play poker, one night a week. So Kelley would stay at home with their kids that night. Very normal. What the mom does, she stays home and he goes and plays poker. And so the Millers said that not only was Tom there that whole evening, whenever they talked to police, he was acting totally fine. Everything was normal. Nothing, I've said normal now 3,000 times, but nothing
Everything was normal.
Yeah. Super. They did not notice anything out of the ordinary. So around 11 that night, Tom actually asked Linda if he could use her cell phone. He said he had to make a real quick call and his cell phone was out in his vehicle, which, why can't you walk 5 feet and get your cell phone?
Right.
But whatever, that's part of the whole thing, I guess. So he makes a call and then he continues to play the game, plays poker, and then he leaves around 12:20 a.m.
Which is fine and normal, I guess. But one note about the fact that he said he didn't have his phone, I guess, was it on the Dateline or maybe it was or somewhere else that I read, but I guess the people that were there also playing poker recalled that he did have his phone with him. Yeah. They said that they remembered looking down and he had his phone in his hands, like while he was at the table and everything. So that, you'll come to find out why. I guess it doesn't really matter whether he did or didn't because clearly he used Linda's phone for whatever it was that he needed to do.
Intrigue.
Right. So after he left at 12:20, it only took him about 10 minutes to get home. He returned home around 12:30 a.m. And that's when he discovered Kelley's body and made the frantic 911 call, which you can hear. If you look up, you can find the 911 tape. And it sounds very convincing, very typical of what you would expect a husband finding his wife dead at their home, would sound like. So he made the 911 call about 12:34 in the morning. And like I said before, by all appearances, it looked like somebody had broken into the home and there was some kind of attack. And unfortunately, Kelley, was attacked to the point where she lost her life that night.
Right.
But there was questions, who would do that? Why? What was the motive? There was nothing stolen inside the home. So this wasn't like a robbery, situation. So really they had nothing really to go on. And then of course the husband wasn't home. So when the police arrived, it was kind of like, okay, they really had nothing to start looking into this with.
Well, and they lived out in the woods, so it's not like, you know what I mean? Like, you're going there with a purpose.
Right, you know where you're going. You didn't just come upon this house in a neighborhood and thought, I'll just pick this one.
I've been wanting to murder all day. I'll do this one.
Right.
Yeah, doesn't make sense.
So as detectives began to investigate, the case kind of becomes like a classic whodunit. They didn't have a lot of information to go on. Tom had a solid alibi, and they started considering other possible suspects in the murder.
Right.
After speaking with several family members and friends, the name Michael Beard had come up. Good old Michael Beard, who, of course, you'll remember was the laborer who worked with Tom.
Right.
And, they were just good friends. So after, like I said, speaking with several family members, I believe it was the niece that we spoke about before who mentioned him and said, well, actually, Michael Beard was just fired from ServPro not too long ago. So that could be a possible motive, why he would want to do this. So the detectives contacted him immediately, and no problem. He agreed to meet with them, would answer their questions. He was extremely cooperative.
Yeah.
And initially the police said, there's really nothing to see here with this guy.
Yeah.
It doesn't really make sense. And like Kelley's sister and mom had said, it would be a possibility, but why would he do that? And like, even if he was upset with Tom for losing his job, what would be the purpose to go like kill your wife? Like, why wouldn't you do something to Tom?
Yeah.
Himself, if you really wanted to get that kind of revenge.
Right. And this is going to sound strange, but I thought Michael Beard was kind of likable. Is that terrible? I thought he was kind of likable.
Yeah, he seemed like a decent guy. Like, Yeah.
I
mean, and family members and friends did say that Kelley, she would be very nice to him, but I guess she did kind of feel uncomfortable with him.
Yeah.
And especially wouldn't want to be home alone with him around. But honestly, that's not really that weird. I don't want to be home alone with my kids with a man like that my husband works with, unless he's there. Like it's normal to say like that you wouldn't want a strange man at your home, while you're there by yourself. So that didn't, that wasn't really surprising to me. But, Kelley's sister said that Kelley would make him lunch and, give him iced tea or whatever, lemonade or, just showed him hospitality just like anyone else.
Yeah.
And so there was really never anything, that would indicate that she was fearful of this man for any reason. So, I mean, I guess that is what it is. So, but yeah, I thought he did seem nice enough.
Yeah, I know. Nice enough for sure.
So while they were doing the detective work and trying to piece together the puzzle, Linda Miller remembered the phone call that Tom had made from her cell phone that night of the poker game. And she immediately went through her phone to try and see who Tom had called that night. Well, surprise, surprise, there was no evidence on her. Whenever you pull up your call log, it'll show you everything. Well, on the call log, there was nothing there to show that he had made a call around that time, around 11 p.m. And so,
she remembered him talk. She remembered hearing him.
Exactly.
Talking.
So it wasn't just like, maybe he never made a phone call, because she recalled that she couldn't hear exactly what he was saying, but it was definitely, he was having a conversation.
Yeah.
So she was very certain that he did call someone. Right. And obviously the only logical explanation is that he deleted the call.
Right.
So of course, anyone I think at this point would be like, that's a little strange. I would like to look more into this and find out, who did he call and
Ghostbusters.
Right. Give this information to the police. So she had her husband even try. This just reminds me how we said they were like an older couple. And it just kind of makes me laugh because she, didn't believe that she was looking, couldn't find the call. And she asked her husband, can you look, and see maybe I'm missing something. But it just reminds me of helping older people in my life with technology.
Oh my gosh.
Stuff.
My dad is, I don't know, his email address, I can't even say it, but it sounds very inappropriate, and he doesn't mean it that way at all.
Well, now I want to know what it is.
This is terrible. Jamie Ray all day. What is he doing all day? We don't know. But I don't think that email address even works, so feel free to email him at whatever you want. I guarantee he doesn't even know how to log into it. But that's like my life with somebody with zero technology skills.
Right. It's funny. I know. I love older people in technology stuff.
Yeah.
It really is fun.
We can say older people because we are feeling feisty.
We say older. We don't say old.
We're on our way.
We're all old.
We're on our way.
So anyway, they didn't find, together they looked through and they couldn't find any evidence of the phone call. So they decided that their next step would be to just contact the cell phone company directly and have the records pulled.
Right.
So that's what they did. And then sure enough, the evidence they were waiting to find was on those phone records, and they found at approximately 11 p.m. a phone call was placed to a number that they didn't recognize.
Yeah.
So at this point, they just went to the police with the information. They said, okay.
I love people like this.
I do too, and these are friends, longtime friends, and they, and so it just, like you said, it's great. I love it when people,
narc. I love a good narc.
I mean, you always hope that you're going to have those friends who will just keep quiet for you.
I don't. If I do something wrong, call me out on it. I don't deserve to go free.
See, I'm the one. I'm your friend
never gonna help
would
you.
Never. I would never turn you in.
I'll send you right to jail.
I'll just keep my mouth shut unless they come asking. I'm not going to lie for you.
I'll put money in your commissary, but I'm not helping you out of jail.
So the detectives ended up looking into this. Of course, they took it seriously and they agreed that it was suspicious that, the call was made and deleted and all that. And then, so they took the phone number and they did their little beep, 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 beep police work.
Nope. Don't do that again.
And the number came back to none other than Michael Beard. Ooh. So, basically Tom was calling Michael Beard the night his wife was murdered.
Right.
And why would he be doing that?
Right.
It's kind of late for a work phone call at 11 p.m.
Yeah.
And you're in the middle of a poker game. So you would think if it was something work related, you would just wait till the morning.
Yeah.
But as we'll come to find out, that's It had nothing to do with work.
Nothing to do with work.
So the detectives actually started taking a closer look now at Tom as well, because clearly something's going on that's a little strange, and especially now that this name Michael Beard had come up before as a possible suspect, and now they have a little bit to work with here, to go on. So the detectives actually conducted several interviews with Michael Beard, and like I said, initially they really didn't think anything was there, so they kind of just kept letting him go and would just say, we'll be in touch with you.
Right.
Well, eventually, after several of these interrogations, and then especially after this phone call information comes out and everything, Michael Beard just goes ahead and confesses. Says that he did this.
Again, with the co-conspirators and with the accessories, like, why are you going to do this and then confess? I mean, I'm glad they confessed, but my goodness, what are you getting out of this?
Right. I mean, and then, like you said, like, if you're going to confess that easily, like, you're just a terrible criminal.
Yeah.
Like, you would think you would hang on for a little bit and just, like, try to get by. They really weren't suspecting him.
Yeah.
So you think he could have rode that wave for a little bit longer.
Maybe he had a guilty conscience, which... Why can't people have guilty conscience whenever somebody says, hey, you want to murder my wife? You say yes, and then you feel guilty.
And then you just don't do it. Right? So, anywho, eventually he just confessed. He said, yep, I did it.
Got it.
I went to their house and murdered, whatever. So, but as part of his confession, he also said that Tom had offered to pay him $10,000 to murder Kelley. Right. So now we're kind of starting to get into, like, the heart of the matter, that yes, Tom had an alibi, but he did have something, at least a small part. Well, I guess a big part.
Big part.
It's like the part.
Yeah.
Murder for hire.
Yeah.
So I guess, and this is like I don't understand. He offered him $10,000. $10,000, it's a lot of money, but it's not enough to kill
What's your number, Mandy?
I don't know. I need to have enough money to, like, go off grid, and, like, like $10,000 can't get me out of the U.S.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I don't think I would. I don't know what my number is.
Oh gosh, Mandy.
I haven't reached it.
For the record,
yet.
I have no number. Just rage fits that will eventually turn into murder. I'll get nothing out of it.
I guess Michael Beard was actually desperate for money because, of course, like we said, he had gotten fired and lost his job. Well, then apparently Tom Clayton was also his landlord. So I'm like, whoa. First of all, that's a problem. You should not have one person being your literal lifeline for everything. That's who you depend on for work. It's who you depend on to keep a roof over your head. Like you have way too much invested into this one person. Right. All your eggs are in one basket. Yeah. So how many more?
Eggs do you have? Is that where you're going with this? Yeah, it's not going well.
So I guess Beard was just willing to do whatever Tom said. And when Tom said, I'll give you 10 grand, like, if you just kill my wife, I mean, I guess it just sounded like a great idea to a desperate person who was
I don't
money.
know. No.
But, like, 10K is going to run out really fast. I could spend $10,000 in a weekend. I feel like
if it ever happened, like in dreamland,
just
like,
easily though, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, that's not going to sustain you. It doesn't. I don't know. And the whole reason Tom didn't want to get divorced, right, was because he didn't want to give Kelley half of his money.
Right. And so, like, how much money do you even have? Honestly, I don't understand how you can just say, I have 10 grand sitting in the bank. I'll give you. Yeah. This
is not an issue. I can buy you a Diet Coke. That's about all I can do. Right. And it better still be on the dollar menu.
So, Tom apparently had originally planned for this murder to take place at a different time than what it actually did. Apparently he had scheduled like a business trip, so he was planning on originally being out of town completely when Michael went over and killed his wife. But I guess for whatever reason that did not work out. So they had to take the next opportunity, which came shortly after, when the other man that I mentioned, Luke Tetrault, who was also the worker who worked with Tom and Michael Beard.
Right.
And he, on September 25th, he had actually asked Tom if he could borrow a four-wheeler from him for the weekend. So Tom saw an opportunity to make the murder happen and would be using this other person. So now you're getting another person involved. Right. This person really, I feel bad for him because he didn't really even know what the intent was. But on September 26th, he did show up to get the four-wheeler, and he drove a red pickup truck. I'm just going to say that because I'll use the term red pickup again to keep everything kind of,
making sense.
Making sense.
There
right?
you go.
So the next day, though, he told him to just bring the four-wheeler to his job whenever he was going to return it, instead of like taking the, bringing the four-wheeler to his house.
Right.
Like, don't go all the way to my house. Just bring it to work and then we'll figure it out. I'll get the four-wheeler back from you or whatever.
Right.
So I guess the original intent was that he would take the four-wheeler to the job to exchange it back, and then Tom would put the four-wheeler in his truck and then just take it home.
Right.
So that was what the plan was. Well, then I guess Tom said, no, let's just trade trucks. I'll take your truck with my four-wheeler, and then I'll take it home and unload it, and then I'll just bring your truck back the next day.
Right.
Well, isn't this perfect for Tom? Because now he has a vehicle that's not his in the equation,
Yeah.
So that is even better for him as
Right.
part of his cover story. Well, you would think. I guess I think it probably gets a little confusing trying to keep all your details straight. When you're planning something like
Another
this.
reason I could never plan a murder. I don't have that kind of memory.
I don't either. I would be the one who would get caught by something
have notes
stupid.
everywhere.
I know. I would be the one who would get caught because I did some dumb thing that didn't even make sense. So he, of course, would take the truck and they would do all that I just said. So on the day of the murder, Tom did drive the red pickup truck to drop the four-wheeler off back at his house. And then he returned that truck to the Serve Pro location around 6 p.m. and left in a green Serve Pro truck according to surveillance. So now at this point, the red pickup truck is still at the Serve Pro location.
Right.
And it just is going to be left there and everything appears to be fine. Four-wheeler's dropped off. Everything's fine. However, keep in mind now Tom has the key and has access to this truck still.
Right.
So when Beard got the phone call from Tom at 11 p.m. that night, he immediately set their plan into motion. He rode his bike to the Serve Pro where he picked up Tetralt's red pickup truck and then he drove off to the Clayton residence. So he switches his mode of transportation. He drives the bike there, gets off, and this is all on surveillance camera. And I saw the footage, actually, what they said, here he is driving up on the bike and here he is taking the truck. And it's really grainy and dark and you can't see. But I guess, after all of the other stuff, they've determined that it was definitely Michael Beard.
Well, and he confessed.
Right. And he said that's what happened. So clue number one.
Look at me on this bicycle.
Right. So Michael Beard pulled up to the Clayton residence around midnight and entered the home using a key. He got in through the garage and using a key that, of course, Tom had generously left for him so that he would be able to get in quietly and not have to break anything or. And on his way in, he grabbed an old maul handle that had not been discarded after the head had fallen off. So what is a maul? Do we know what a maul is?
I don't know. It sounds like if it hits something, it's pretty serious.
But yeah, the head of it fell off. I don't know. We're going to have to Google a picture of a maul here really quickly.
Yeah.
Because I'm not even sure what that is.
I'm on it.
Yeah. So this is, of course, the tool that he ended up using to beat Kelley. Like I said, starting when she was asleep in her bed and chased her around down the stairs and into the kitchen. And so meanwhile, after he did that, he left, quickly changed clothes, drove the red truck back to the Serve Pro, got on his bike, and took off. And just that was that. And so they think, of course, they're in the clear. Nobody is now connected to this murder. Nobody is going to know who did it.
Right.
So after that, Tom went home, of course, and made the air quote here discovery that he supposedly was surprised to find, but as it turns out, he wasn't. So Beard and Clayton were both charged with first-degree murder for the murder for hire scheme, and they also were both charged with second-degree murder. So I'm not really sure how that works because first-degree murder is premeditated, and then second-degree, I don't know how you can. I feel like it's either one or the other. Right.
Yeah.
Well, they were charged with
maybe
both.
In New York State it's not.
But actually, Michael Beard recanted his original confession, which was, of course, he confessed to the events as they happened. But then he recanted his confession and actually told a different story. Which, like we've discussed together, that he said he was supposed to go set the house on fire. And but when he got there, Kelley was already dead. So
somebody else had already killed her.
Like, what luck?
What a weird night.
Yeah, what a weird night for sure. But the jury actually did not go for that. They
thank you.
Yeah, they were like, no, we don't think so. And he was convicted of first and second degree murder. So, like
again,
I
don't know how that works.
I don't know how that works either. So Tom Clayton had a trial at a different date, and he also was convicted. I didn't see anything about how long they were in prison for.
Yeah. So one thing we were going to talk about that is the most disturbing thing in this case to me. So Tom basically, well, here's a few things. Tom Why on earth, when people are going to kill somebody, why do they have to call the person that's going to kill them? Why
Right.
did he have to make that phone call? You can't get home and see that she's dead. You have to say,
Right.
hey, did you do it?
And, like, if you are putting this much effort and thought into, like, planning this perfect crime and
Right.
making sure you have an alibi and making sure that
There's trucks
you know,
involved and all kinds
and
of
all
stuff.
this, like, don't be dumb and, like, do something stupid, like use someone's cell phone. Like, come on, get a burner phone.
Right.
Murder 101. Don't use your own phone
And
or
pay
anyone
cash
that you know.
for the burner phone.
Exactly.
And don't buy it at
Load
Walmart.
it up with some
Oh my gosh.
prepaid minutes.
Yeah.
Right. And don't be caught on surveillance camera buying the phone either.
Yeah. We can help you get away with it,
Right.
guys.
But you would think, though, it's like some of these ways these, like, dumb criminals get caught. Like, they're such common ways. Like, really, you got caught because you used a cell phone to call the
But why
person?
did he have to call? I don't
Right.
understand that. Like, when they
Just to
know
be
the
like,
wheels
oh,
are in
yeah?
motion. Oh,
Right.
dead? Great. Okay.
Right.
I'm going to finish.
Or it's time for you to go over there now. Like, come on. Surely you should have discussed all this.
Yeah, can't you get this times right before? I'm
Right.
glad they're stupid, though. I love
I know.
that they're
I do, too.
stupid.
I love stupid people because they're stupid.
Yeah. But then the other, like, super, super upsetting thing to me in this is that in both scenarios where Tom was going to have Kelley killed, whenever he was out of town and whenever she was at the poker night, he knew his kids were going to be home.
What a jerk.
I mean, there's no, like, he couldn't have set it up where the kids were at the grandparents, something. Why have them included in that? That's so disgusting to me that, like, I don't know, that it can't be out of love for your kids that you're doing it. Like, you hear that some people are in abusive relationships and they have to kill the spouse and they did it because they love their kids, whatever. I get that. But this, he knew they were upstairs, you know, and this was hours. They were there with a dead body for hours before he
Right.
got home.
Were they?
Well, at least an hour. It
At
wasn't
least
like
an hour. Yeah, I would say at least an hour.
1 minute is too long.
Well,
Any of it.
exactly. And you're talking about young kids, like you said, who are home alone, and now they've also gone through this whole, like, crazy ordeal. The only thing I could think is that he was assuming the kids would be asleep, and maybe that Kelley's death would have been faster, so she wouldn't have been chased through the house and, like, all this other thing.
No.
There's just no excusing it. I mean, honestly, like you said, it's like that's like a monster thing to do.
Yeah.
Like, these are your children, these are your babies, and
The only bright side is that Michael Beard did not kill the kids, because you do hear about those cases where a kid is going to be a witness,
Right.
and then they kill the kid
Right.
too. So, okay, thank you, Michael Beard.
But although if he was going to set the house on fire,
Right.
the kids would have been
Yeah.
killed. Like, that was obviously, if that was plan A, you know, it's awful. It's terrible.
It is. So, yeah, no. Tom, I hope you lose all your teeth in prison.
Exactly. Well, the Clayton children, speaking of them, they actually now live with Kelley's sister, Kim. And Kim has said that she believes that this all happened because Tom just simply wanted his freedom, which, like, I have zero sympathy for you. Like, I'm sorry. I can't even with that. But the detectives actually had found out that Tom had upped Kelley's life insurance to $1 million a year before her murder. I'm sorry. That should always be a red flag. I feel like if you, like, ever up your wife's life insurance policy,
And it's not her idea?
exactly, then I think you should
Run, girl.
Yeah, run away. I wonder if she even knew,
Yeah.
that he did that. Can you do that? Can you?
I've heard of that happening before and things, but I don't know if that's necessarily legal. But how many times, this is going to get me in trouble, have you signed your husband's name for things like that, like, oh, he needs to sign this, and you just sign it and you're not really.
Forgery.
Yeah. Admitting to all kinds of things. But yeah, so anyway, yeah, I've done that. No, I haven't done that, but I've heard of people doing that. But yeah, so I mean, I don't think it's so far off. But luckily, like, my insurance policy and my husband's is so small, like, it would not be worth killing me.
No,
You've got to
no,
keep
I
me
know.
around. You're not going to get any
Yeah.
money, and then you're going to be stuck with 2 kids. You're not going to kill me.
But anyway, so because he did that, because he had, they found that out about him doing that a year prior, of course, the family thinks that he had been considering this, like, murder for hire scheme for
Yeah.
a long, long, long time. Like,
Yeah.
which is just so creepy that she was going on living a life and with this man who is plotting to have her killed the whole
Yeah.
time. Like, gosh, it just makes you terrified. Like, it just makes me want to go live alone and be away from people. I feel
Yeah.
like if you don't even know your own husband is doing this behind
Yeah.
your back, like, who do you know?
I wonder
You know
what
I
she
mean?
did know, though, because, if he's cheating on her, there's all these things going on. I wonder, I mean, she could have known some stuff going on. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of times women do have some kind of clue. So I just feel terrible for her because this is another one of those cases. There's never a reason for murder. Justified homicide, sure, but there's no reason to kill somebody. Like, divorce them. It's
right.
Just do it.
Like, why can't
I'm not pro divorce, but
no.
Like, if the option is divorce and murder.
Well, I guess he did want to leave her, but he said he was worried that she was going to take everything, which
she deserved to.
Right. And like, so now you're just going to kill her. And then if you get caught, you're going to be in jail forever. Like, I wrote in my notes down on the bottom that when I sent my notes to Melissa review them, I wanted to make sure she read all the way to the end. So I actually put in there in the bottom that Kelley was a lot prettier than Bubba in the jail cell that's keeping him warm at night now.
Yeah.
So.
I read them.
Yeah.
So that is the story.
Kelley Clayton.
Kelley Clayton. She's a wonderful person. But so we have a couple things real quick. We finally changed the name of our Facebook group.
That was the Moms and Murder podcast discussion group, blah, 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 blah. So we have a better name now.
We had several people join, but apparently people couldn't find us. And that seems so strange to me. So we are changing it to...
Mum's the Word,
the word.
I just love so much. Honestly, whenever I saw it, I thought it was perfect.
It's so fun. I love it. We sound like so sophisticated. I can't even say the word. We sound
sophisticated.
Yeah, we sound like we actually know what we're doing, and we're just lovely ladies out on the town.
Right.
Or British. I'm fine with either of those, but neither one of us are world travelers. So anyway, if you want to find us on Facebook, Mum's the Word, and you just have to answer a quick question that is, are you going to try to murder us? And if you answer it correctly, we'll let you join the group. So thank you to Mary Virginia in our Facebook group for that great name idea. Mum's the Word. Find us there. So we have a couple I'm Invincible wins. The first one is from Twitter. And it's, I'm invincible when I walk home alone at night, pretending to talk on the phone, casually mentioning my MMA training.
I love that one. Actually, the whole pretend phone call thing is one that I use all the time. Yeah, I mean...
We get that one a lot.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, I know. It actually works. Well, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel like it works really well. There's a really pretty cardinal sitting on the windowsill over here.
Of course, Mandy sees an animal and freaks out. So she's going to try and figure out a way to bring it to the farm.
I am. Can I catch it?
No. Oh, my gosh. Stop. And so the next one comes to us from Christina on our Facebook page. And she said, I'm a mom of a 1 and 2 year old and my husband deploys, so I often have to do things alone. My invincible win is when I get both kids locked in their car seats and can shut and lock the door so predators can't try to steal them. Like, I have a mini panic attack every time I'm done grocery shopping until they're safely in my car. Oh my goodness, yes. Getting 2 kids in the car and they act the most obnoxious when you're like, it's nighttime in a grocery store parking lot.
Right. Like, get in the car right now. I know. I do the same thing. Although, one of my favorite tricks is just to throw them in the car and then get in and buckle them in from the inside. Because, I'm always paranoid that someone's going to jump out and come grab us and take us away.
I do that in the van. I just, hop in and now...
Oh, well, it's easy when you have a van.
I'm a van person now, Mandy, and I will not look back on you peasants in your cars. Just kidding. So the last one we have came in a voicemail from Sabrina from Austin, Texas. And she said, I'm invincible when, let me make sure I have this correct, that whenever she puts the keys or sets her keys in between all of her fingers like Wolverine. And so if an attacker comes up, you can slash them in the face.
Right.
Yeah. So I've done that since I was little.
Right. That was like one of the first self-defense things that my mom told me whenever I first started driving and was going to be like, because I had a job. I got my first job when I was 15. Nothing fancy. I just scooped ice cream, but sometimes I'd have to stay there late at night.
Yeah.
So my parents always would worry, about me being young and having to go out at night in the parking lot and drive home. So that was one of actually the first things that they ever taught me to do was do the key in between the fingers thing.
The only issue is they have to be 1 inch from your face to be able to slash them.
And so I do get a little concerned that might not be adequate in actuality. But it does make you feel invincible.
Yeah. We look like a bunch of psychos that we're all walking around with with keys between our fingers, talking on the phone about MMA fighting, and then smiling at every security camera we see.
All of our listeners, if they do any
we're gonna
of
get everybody
things,
committed.
We're all gonna look crazy.
Okay, so thank you for listening this week. Thanks for making it through Hurricane Irma with us, or at least us. We made it through Hurricane Irma.
I hope that everybody else did.
Hope everyone else did. Yeah. I said on our last show, spoiler alert, we made it through Hurricane Irma. Glad that was true.
Right.
Yeah. There's another hurricane coming, apparently, Maria. And
oh my gosh, I just can't.
I'm going to set my whole house on fire and just start over somewhere else. So anyway, thank you guys for listening. Get ready for our 2 promos. Remember to send us your reviews. And we will enter you for a wonderful, beautiful sticker that Mandy's still been playing with the whole time we've been talking.
Yes, I'm obsessed. And like we said, don't forget, we do have voting going on for our potential next episode for our Patreon supporters. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely reach out to us or check us out on our Facebook group. And we would love to have your input on a case that you like or would like us to cover.
Absolutely. So have a nice week, unless Hurricane Maria comes and takes us.
I just can't even think of that. It's too early to even start worrying. I'm still not recovered from the mental exhaustion from the last one.
Anyone with AC cannot tell me that. So all right, you guys have a good week.
Bye-bye.
Hey y'all, Jen and Lindsay here from the Corpus Delicti podcast, here to tell you to check out our show.
If true crime's your thing, it's ours too. Just a little dash of lightheartedness and a hint of Southern charm.
Serial killers, controversial cases, historical hallmarks, we've got it all.
So just join us every Tuesday on iTunes, Podbean, or many other podcast apps as we dive into compelling cases and crack them open for you.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. That's CORPUSDELICTI.
See you Tuesday.
Hi, I'm Lainey, host of the new podcast, We're All Just Pretending. It's a podcast that has elements of Dear Abby with a twist of Post-Secret. Every episode, I'll read listener questions and provide advice and insight as a friend. My own pod friends will even join in and offer their advice on parenting, relationships, and even give you really bad advice on purpose. Since we all have secrets to share, there'll also be a segment focusing on letting the skeletons out of your closet. If you're looking for advice or want to share a secret, head to allpretendingpod.com. And remember, we're all just pretending here.
Hi, this is Stacey P. from Charlotte, North Carolina, and I love the Moms and Murder podcast. Mandy and Melissa are hilarious and totally moms that I could see myself hanging out with while drinking lots of wine and discussing if we think Melissa currently has too many animals or not. My current favorite case is the bank heist with Anthony Curcio. It's informative and it's hilarious, and I think anyone who likes a more lighthearted version of true crime podcast would love Moms and Murder.
Hi, my name is Joe. I'm from Ohio, and I'd have to say my favorite episode is Casey Anthony, because I'm not sure who I hate more, her or Nancy Grace. Well, have a good day, ladies. Thanks. Bye.
Hi, Mandy. Hi, Melissa. It's Roseanne, all the way over here in California. And of course, I wanted to call you guys to congratulate you on your 10th episode. I'm so thrilled you guys pulled through the hurricane and had an episode up and ready to go without a hitch. You guys are totally amazing, and I absolutely so thoroughly enjoy listening to every single episode of your show. Every Tuesday morning, it makes my day heading to work. You guys are so cute, so funny, so adorable. It's the only time that I actually laugh and giggle at all things murdery. I love you guys, and I love the show, and here's to many, 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 many more episodes. Take care. Love you.
Hi Mandy and Melissa, it's Vanessa here from rainy old England. I'm loving the podcast. I binged it all in a couple of days last week. Thank you Stacey P for recommending it. I loved all the episodes. I think probably Anthony Curcio was my favourite just because it was so different and funny and just different to all the sort of normal depressing stuff. But yeah, it's great. Keep up the good work and speak to you soon. Bye.
Happy 10 episodes, Moms and Murder. This is Melissa, and I have been friends with the other Melissa for a long time. And I'm just so happy to support her and Mandy and love the podcast. Keep it going, ladies.
Thanks so much for listening to the Moms and Murder podcast. Make sure to check back with us next week for a new episode. You can also find us at momsandmurder.com, where you can connect with us via social media. Please make sure you subscribe and give us 5 stars, because giving us 4 stars would be a crime. Thanks so much.